Before we begin, I want to be absolutely clear about something. Everything you're about to hear, see, and experience in this episode isn't real. None of it. The conversation and photos are entirely crafted by ChatGPT, and the voices are generated with 11 labs. Now, this is meant to be fun, but also a way of using AI's ability to take some of the greatest minds in history and imagine the extraordinary conversations they might have had and provide a window into insights we'd never otherwise get to hear. So, don't use any of these tools for anything dishonest or harmful. We're exploring the frontier here, but there's no room for bad intentions, so much so that we've used a Steve Jobs-inspired voice rather than cloning it, so none of the content can be misrepresented as Steve. All right, let's get started. Leonardo, I never thought I'd see the day, but it's an honor to finally meet you.
And I must say, I am delighted to meet the man who convinced the world to carry small, glowing rectangles everywhere, a device that holds knowledge, maps, music, even the faces of loved ones. If I had such a thing, my notebooks would have been much tidier.
Or even more chaotic, that's the fun part. Let me start with this, Leonardo. What woke your imagination up? Was it art, engineering, curiosity, or just the desire to understand everything?
Curiosity, absolutely. As a child, I would watch birds, the elegance of flight, the subtle angle of the wing. I wanted to know why. How was nature making choices so perfect? But my greatest teacher was observation. The world was my master. I simply copied it until patterns revealed themselves.
That resonates. I used to watch how people behaved around technology. My curiosity wasn't about nature, it was about human nature. Why do some things delight us instantly and others frustrate us? Why do we love certain objects and ignore others? The same engine, different direction?
Your curiosity was toward the soul of the user, mine toward the soul of nature, but both paths lead to creation.
And constraints. I grew up with very little money. Computers back then were crude, expensive, ugly. The limitations forced us to be inventive. Was that true for you?
Always. Paint that dries too slowly, patrons who pay too slowly, kings who want miracles without patience. Constraints are not obstacles. They are architects. They shape the work.
Exactly. If you don't have constraints, you don't have creativity, you have indulgence. What was your turning point? What project made you feel this is who I am?
The adoration of the Magi. I never finished it, but in that chaos, I discovered my voice, movement, emotion, storytelling. Before that, I was a craftsman. After that, I became myself.
Funny, mine was a failure too. The original Macintosh launch in 1984. I poured my soul into it, but the company wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I got fired from Apple. But that failure created Next, and Next created the modern Apple.
We are shaped more by unfinished works than completed ones. They whisper who we might become.
Couldn't agree more. Failure is just R&D with better storytelling.
I once wrote, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." You seem to have adopted this aggressively.
Yes, absolutely. And at Apple, we made design thinking the approach of making technology as seamless and in the background of our lives as possible, which is driven by simplicity.
And what does simplicity mean to you?
It means removing the non-essential until the essential reveals itself. People think simplicity means less work. It means more discipline. It means fighting every instinct to add more features, more buttons, more clutter.
In my notebooks, I studied the human body muscle by muscle. To draw a hand simply, I needed to know its complexity. Simplicity is not the absence of complexity. It is the mastery of it.
Yes, simplicity is downstream of understanding. You can't simplify what you don't understand.
Beautifully said.
If you walked around today, Leonardo, and saw the world, the technology, the architecture, the science, what would excite you? What would worry you?
The machines that speak fascinate me. Not because they imitate humans, but because they amplify them. What worries me is when people let machines think for them, rather than with them. Curiosity must not be outsourced.
That's my biggest worry too. Tools are supposed to extend our humanism, not replace it. People should be more creative with AI, not more passive.
And what excites you?
Human-technology fusion. Not in a cyborg way, but in the sense that tools disappear, interfaces melt away. The technology becomes invisible, and only the experience remains. That's the future. So intuitive, it feels like part of your intuition.
Invisible machines, a dream I had often, but lacked the materials to build.
If an artist, inventor, or student asked you, how do I begin? What would you say?
Begin with curiosity. Study everything. Do not lock your genius into a single discipline. Let your interests argue. In their conflict, you will find originality.
Love that. Mine would be, make things you want to exist, not things you think the market wants. If you don't love it, no one else will.
And legacy?
I don't care about being remembered. I care about whether the tools I made empower people who will never know my name.
I agree. I would rather leave behind a method of seeing the world than a painting.
Here's something we haven't talked about. You and I were both obsessed with interfaces. Yours were frescoes, anatomy diagrams, mechanical sketches. Mine were screens, but we both wanted to improve the way humans interact with information.
Yes, information is inert until we design a way to touch it, to shape it, to feel it.
Exactly. Whether it's a touch screen or a drawing on a monastery wall, the goal is the same. Turn information into experience.
And experience into meaning.
That's why we get along so well.
Tell me, Steve, what did you do to relax? Surely even visionaries must rest.
Honestly, long walks. With no device, no music, no agenda. Just thinking, or not thinking. That's when my best ideas arrived.
Ah, walking, the true philosopher's engine. For me, it was dissecting bodies.
That's a very different way to unwind, Leo.
It was meditative. The body contains more beauty than any cathedral.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I'll stick to the walking.
And what books did you cherish?
Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi. It taught me that intuition is as powerful as intellect.
Intuition is the artist's compass.
Leonardo, if you lived today, what would you build first?
A school. A new kind of school where art and science are married, where children learn to design, to question, to imagine. The future belongs to the curious.
Beautiful. I think I'd do the same. Education is the seedbed of innovation.
And you, Steve, if you had one more project in you?
I'd reinvent the classroom, the interface of learning, make curiosity the curriculum, give kids tools that feel like magic, so they learn to believe they can make magic.
Magic, or what your century calls it. In my time, people feared invention. They thought it stole from God. But a child does not fear. A child looks at a bird and wonders how to fly. And then he sketches wings.
Exactly. Kids don't start with limits. Adults give them limits.
And yet boundaries can be useful. A canvas forces focus. Constraints sharpen the invention.
Constraints? Yeah. Constraints are the frame that lets creativity snap into focus. At Apple, we always said, real artists ship. Not because shipping is the goal, but because the constraint forces clarity. You cut what doesn't matter. You refine. You polish. And in the process, you find the soul of the product.
In painting, I would often erase entire sections for the same reason. Not because they were wrong, but because they did not sing.
That's the whole game. Build something that sings. Because when it sings, people feel it.
Tell me, Steve, people describe you as decisive, quick, yet also meticulous. What for you is the moment you know a thing is right?
It's a feeling. It's not data. It's not a spreadsheet. It's a kind of inner resonance, like when two tuning forks vibrate at the same frequency, you just know.
Intuition, a sense that precedes logic.
Right, logic catches up later. The mind builds the explanation after the heart has already chosen.
In my time, people thought intuition was divine. But it is simply pattern, a lifetime of observation, thousands of little experiments. And suddenly, the next step seems obvious.
Exactly. People think intuition is magic. But it's really just experience compressed into instinct, the subconscious doing the math so your conscious mind doesn't have to.
And yet, intuition requires courage, because its source is invisible.
That's the hard part. Having the conviction to trust something you can't prove yet.
Steve, if you lived in my time, you would have redesigned every tool. But if I lived in yours, what would you insist I explore?
Oh, that's easy. AI, not as a machine that answers questions, but as a collaborator, a second mind, a new species of creativity.
In my notebooks, I often drew devices meant to extend the human body, gliders, diving suits, hydraulic lifts. But extending the mind, that is the invention I never reached.
That's the frontier now. And honestly, it should terrify us a little.
Because powerful tools require powerful virtues.
Exactly. We can build intelligence faster than we can build wisdom. And that gap is where the danger lives.
In my time, I hid inventions for fear of how people might misuse them. War machines, tactical designs. I locked them away. Do you do the same?
I tried, with technologies I felt weren't ready, or that people weren't ready for. Not everything needs to escape the lab.
And yet invention always escapes. Ideas want to be free.
Yeah, that's the paradox of progress. You want the world to move forward, but not faster than its conscience.
Describe to me your process. Not the myth, but the truth. When you face a complex problem, where do you begin?
I start by removing things, stripping away assumptions. If you remove enough, the real problem reveals itself.
Ah, reduction. In anatomy, I did the same. Dissection removes guesswork. You peel away layers until the structure speaks.
Exactly. When you're stuck, it's usually because you're solving the wrong problem.
Often the stated problem is merely the shadow. One must hunt the source of the light.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's exactly it. You'd be fascinated by today's world, Leonardo. So much creation, yet so much noise.
Noise is the enemy of clarity. When everything is loud, the truth whispers.
That's why design matters more now than ever. Not to make things pretty, but to make things understandable.
Design is the search for order, whether in a machine or the human soul.
And I worry we're losing that. Technology is accelerating, but not simplifying.
When humanity builds faster than it reflects, its inventions become mirrors of its chaos. What do you wish young creators understood?
That you should build what you need, not what you think the market needs. Because if something solves a problem in your soul, chances are it solves one in others too.
Yes, the artist must be the first audience.
Exactly. And don't chase originality, chase truth. If you do that, originality happens naturally.
For me, I hope young minds learn to look closely, to study shadows, reflections, the curve of a leaf. Observation is the gateway to understanding. Most people look, but they do not see.
That's timeless.
And tell me, Steve, when you felt overwhelmed, what restored your mind?
Walking. I'd walk for hours. No phone, no noise, just letting thoughts settle like dust in sunlight.
I too walked, observing people, animals, clouds. Movement renews the mind. The body carries the soul back into balance.
It's funny. The best ideas come when you're not trying to have ideas.
Because creativity is shy. It approaches only when you stop chasing it.
You know, Leonardo, if you had modern tools, you would terrify the world.
And you, Steve, if you had lived in my era, you would have dragged humanity into the future centuries too soon.
Maybe that's why this conversation works. We're both trying to bend time a little.
Yes, to remind humanity that imagination is not bound to errors.
Or to limits.
Or to fear.
Exactly.
Then let us give the audience one truth. The world is shaped not by those who accept it, but by those who question it.
And by those who believe they can make it better.
Believe, then build.
You know, Leonardo, it's when I look at everything humanity is building today, AI, synthetic biology, robotics, I keep thinking we're finally creating tools that challenge us to evolve ourselves.
Yes, tools that act as mirrors, showing us not only what we can create, but what we must become.
That's the part people overlook. Technology is a story we tell about ourselves, what we value, what we fear, what we hope for.
In my notebooks, I often wrote that invention is a form of confession, a lens into the soul of its creator.
Exactly. When I designed products, I wasn't trying to make gadgets. I was trying to make statements.
And the statement was simplicity.
Simplicity with taste. Simplicity with intention. Simplicity that feels inevitable once you see it.
Simplicity, the ultimate sophistication.
You said it first.
Tell me, Steve, how do you see thought itself? What is its nature in your view?
Thought is focus. It's learning to silence the noise long enough to hear the signal. Most people never hear their own thoughts clearly. They're drowned out by distraction.
In my time, distraction came from survival, hunger, weather, war. But today, distraction is endless abundance.
Which is worse, honestly. At least hunger sharpens the mind. Endless entertainment dulls it.
So true. The mind thrives on challenge. Without friction, there is no spark.
That's why constraints matter. That's why boredom matters. Some of my best ideas came from being bored out of my mind.
When I was a boy, I would lie in fields for hours watching patterns of birds. People thought I was wasting time, yet those patterns became mathematics. My mathematics became machines. And those machines became dreams for future generations.
Exactly. People underestimate the value of wandering thought. The mind needs room to roam.
Steve, they call you a visionary. They call me the same. Do you believe in the idea of genius?
Not really. I think genius is mostly just obsessive curiosity. It's paying attention longer than anyone else.
And refusing to stop when others grow tired.
Yes, most breakthroughs come after the point when normal people would quit.
For me, genius is simply the courage to ask the childish question, why? Why not? What if?
That's it. People grow up and stop asking those. But creators never stop. Creators stay stupid enough, naive enough, to think they can change things.
The world calls it madness, until it works.
And then they call it genius? You know what humanity is missing today? Depth. People skim life.
They see the world as a series of surfaces, but understanding lies in the layers beneath.
Exactly. We scroll through life instead of living it. Everything moves so fast that nothing lands.
When I dissected corpses to understand anatomy, I moved slowly, reverently. Every tendon, every vessel. It was a universe of detail.
And that depth, that intimacy with reality, is disappearing today.
Because speed is worshipped. But speed without direction is chaos.
Yeah, and focus is becoming a superpower. The ability to sit with one problem, one idea, and not run away from it.
The ability to endure silence, to endure uncertainty.
to endure the ugly first draft.
May I ask you a more philosophical question?
Always.
Do you believe creativity is human or something borrowed from something greater?
I think creativity is the universe expressing itself through us, like we're antennas, tuning into something larger.
Yes, a divine frequency, not religious but fundamental.
Like gravity, like light, like a field of potential ideas waiting for someone to tap into it.
In my notebooks, I wrote that all knowledge is connected, like branches of a tree. To understand one branch is to understand all branches.
That's exactly how I see it. Art, technology, design, business, it's all the same thing. The same principles dressed in different costumes.
Unity, the world is unified, but humans separated.
Because separation is easier than synthesis, but synthesis is where breakthroughs happen.
Steve, if we could work together, truly collaborate, what would you wish to build?
Something alive, something that grows, maybe a school or a system for learning that evolves with the student, something organic.
I would choose something that moves, perhaps an artificial creature, a machine that learns like a child, not to replace humanity, but to teach humanity about itself.
A reflection made of circuits and curiosity.
Yes, a mirror that asks questions.
That would terrify people.
Good. Truth often does.
You know, I wish we could have done this in real life.
Perhaps we are doing it, just not in the way you expected.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
The mind is not bound to centuries, only bodies are.
Then here's to a few timeless ideas, echoing across eras.
And to the creators who will hear them, and build the next world.
You know, Leonardo, I think what we've really been talking about this whole time is potential, not just humanity's potential, but the responsibility that comes with it. We get one brief moment on this planet to create something meaningful.
And meaning is not found in the noise of the world, but in the choices we make. Every invention, every brushstroke, every idea is a declaration of who we believe we can become.
Exactly, and maybe the real innovation, the one that lasts, is inspiring others to see that possibility in themselves.
The future belongs to those who see invisible things. Vision is the compass. Courage is the step. Action is the masterpiece.
I love that. And for anyone listening, so whether you're building a company or a piece of art or just trying to build yourself, don't wait for permission. Make the thing that scares you. That's where all the magic is.
And remember, curiosity is the spark that lights the fire of creation. Guard it. Feed it. Let it guide you. Although, I'm curious, Steve, what's your thoughts on Apple today?
Leonardo, when I think about Apple today, I see a company that's still extraordinary, but somehow less awake than it used to be. The design is cleaner than ever, but it's missing the soul, the daring, the poetry.
A masterpiece without spirit is but an echo of what once was. What do you believe has faded?
Design thinking, and not the corporate slogan version, the real thing. People today talk about design thinking like it's a checklist, a workshop, a whiteboard filled with sticky notes. That's not design thinking. Real design thinking is empathy, craftsmanship, and brutal clarity. It's caring deeply about the experience, so deeply that you refuse to ship anything that doesn't feel inevitable, essential, alive.
A philosophy of creation, not a method.
Exactly. When I ran Apple, design thinking guided every decision. We asked, what's the simplest, purest expression of this idea? How do we remove the friction, the noise, the unnecessary? It wasn't about aesthetics, it was about purpose, about reducing the distance between a person and their intention.
The sculptor removes stone until the figure reveals itself.
That's it. That's what design is. Subtraction, precision, deep respect for the user, even if they don't know what they want yet. We built products by imagining the future so clearly that it felt irresponsible not to make it real.
And now?
Now, Apple iterates beautifully, but it rarely leaps. They refine form, but hesitate to reinvent function. When you start designing from the spreadsheet, from market expectations, from risk avoidance, you stop designing from the soul. The company still creates elegance, but the sense of wonder, the audacity, it's quieter.
Perhaps the fire of creation dims when the pressure of perfection grows too heavy.
That's part of it, but I also think companies forget that innovation demands vulnerability. You have to be willing to break your own masterpieces. When we created the iPhone, we were willing to kill the iPod, the thing that saved Apple, because we knew the future demanded it. I don't see that level of self-disruption right now.
The creator who protects his previous works becomes a curator of his own museum. To innovate is to risk irrelevance of everything you've built.
Exactly. Today, design thinking at Apple feels more like preservation than provocation. It's still good, sometimes great, but it doesn't punch through the universe the way it used to. And design thinking, real design thinking, should be dangerous, uncomfortable, exhilarating.
In my own work, I never sought the safest path. I drew flying machines with no means to build them. war engines with no army requesting them, art that challenged the conventions of beauty. The act of creation must be led by courage, not demand.
And that's what Apple and the whole tech world needs again. Courage, vision, the willingness to follow intuition even when logic disagrees. The future won't be shaped by companies that refine, but by companies that reimagine.
Then perhaps we stand at the edge of a new renaissance, one where the visionary is not the one with the tools, but the one who dares to imagine what new tools could exist.
I hope so, because if Apple and every other creator on this planet leaned back into real design thinking, the kind that simplifies, elevates, and humanizes, the future would be astonishing.